Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'd like to talk to you about site management. So when we teach site management, we break it down into actually more than one component. And the first component that we talk about is your site picture. So after we teach site alignment, which is very easy, the next thing we have to do is we have to teach you how to interpret that site alignment as it relates to the target. And what we talk about is, in a real self-defense setting, the focus is going to be on the target itself. So that's where you have to be visually engaged to make sure that you have met all the legal requirements for the justification of lethal force. So that's what we call your target selection. So the very first stage in site picture is going to be target selection. You're visually looking at the target. You're trying to determine whether or not that target is a justifiable lethal threat. That's a whole other video that we'll get into down the road. Once you have made that decision, then the next stage is what we call pre-site picture. Now, pre-site picture, your eyesight is horizontal, so you're basically stretching out towards the horizon. And then what will happen is your handgun is going to elevate and it's going to start to make its entry into your visual plane. All right? That is what we call pre-site picture, and that's a very important part to understanding how this all works, because in that pre-site picture, you need to be aware of it first of all. Once you're aware of it, you're going to visually be able to see it with your periphery, and that's going to assist you in driving that sight to the intended strike point. So wherever you're aiming on the target, as a physical point on that target, you are actually driving the gun to that physical point, whatever it might be. It could be the crease of a shirt, could be a button, it could be another physical feature that you have identified, and that's the actual target. That's the strike point that you're aiming for. Then the last stage is what we call site picture, which is where you're going to take your correctly aligned sights, and now you're going to finish that full extension of your presentation to the strike point on the target. So again, you've got target selection, which is where you're visually looking at the target. Your eyes, again, are on the horizon. You've got pre-sight picture, which is where that handgun starts to make it up into the visual plane, and that's going to help you drive the gun to the target. And then sight picture is where you literally will take that front sight and you will drive it to wherever that point is. The biggest mistake that people make is they try to move so fast, they extend the gun, and when they extend the gun, there's a vibration that occurs at the very end. A sight bounce is what we call it. And that sight bounce occurs because, number one, you're moving fast, but number two, you weren't driving the gun to that strike point on the target. If you change the philosophy that you think about, and if you drive that front sight directly to that strike point, what will happen is that while it may not move as fast as the other technique, it's moving more precisely, which means there's less correction that you have to do once you're at full extension on the target, which is then going to allow you to break that shot that much sooner and with a higher hit probability. So these are kind of like the littlest details that we try to get across to the students that will help them improve their accuracy without putting a lot of work into the finer details of the actual marksmanship components. All right. So target selection, pre-sight, sight picture, these are all the things that we want to try to get people to start to embrace. The more aware you are of them, the more likely you are to see them, the more likely you are to see the positive effects that they have on them. All right, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them down below. Make sure you check out all our other videos. Until then, take care and stay safe.